Thanks for checking out another new podcast from Coatings Pro Magazine. I'm your host, Ben Dubose, and I'm the news editor with the AMP publications team. AMP, of course, is the shorthand acronym for the Association for Materials Protection and Performance, of which Coatings Pro is a member magazine. So too is our sister publication at Materials Performance Magazine. Today, we're going to be chatting with Davies Hood, owner and president of Induron Protective Coatings. Davies, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. For anyone listening who might not be familiar with you or with Induron, why don't you start by giving a little bit of career background, both for yourself and that of the company?
Sure. All right. Well, first off, Ben, thank you for having me. I'm pretty fired up about doing another one of these podcasts. I've been looking forward to it. My name's Davies Hood. I am the third generation owner of Induron Coatings. We're an industrial paint manufacturer based down in Birmingham, Alabama. We compete with much larger competitors by focusing on certain niche markets and trying to bring value to all of the stakeholders in the projects we work with. And that goes from asset owner to specifying engineer to applying contractor. So Induron started in 1947 in Birmingham, and we started as industrial paint manufacturing company. Birmingham's an old steel city. Anything that is almost 80 years old adapts over time. We had several paint stores. For the last 30 years, we have focused exclusively on industrial coatings. I've been at the business since 1997, worked in a lot of different positions, and quite honestly, feel blessed by the opportunity I have from a professional standpoint.
So Induron has a fairly unique role in the market in that obviously you all are a coatings manufacturer, but you've also got a decent bit of application know-how. You've got good relationships with contractors. You talked about your niche briefly. What is Induron's technical areas of expertise? What types of projects do you take on? Just explain what it is about you all structurally that makes you fairly unique, at least in my opinion, in the coatings market.
So we focus solely on linings for ductile iron sewer pipe, protective coatings for the water and wastewater business. That's potable water storage tanks. That's water treatment plants and wastewater treatment plant facilities. And our newer venture is our protective coatings for power transmission and distribution structures. So over our history, we have a lot of experience making and selling paint for different markets, but the way we find ourselves viable in today's economy is just focusing on those three niches and knowing as much as we can about those niches. Meaning we try to bring value to all of our customers by product know-how, application know-how, and market know-how. And if we can't bring value both in the bucket and outside the bucket, then we're not doing our job right.
Yep. So let's talk about what's new in 2025, because you all had a press release go out very recently about the introduction of the PermaClean 100 single leg. What's the background there and what's the new offering?
Okay, so PermaClean 100 SL is product we've just released to the market. It is NSF approved for potable water storage tanks, 30,000 gallons and larger. It is a solvent-free, 100% solids epoxy lining, high build. Its differentiating factor is that it can be applied by conventional single leg application equipment. The history there, about 15 years ago, we introduced PermaClean 100, 100% solids epoxy tank lining. The challenge with that product has always been that it required plural component application equipment, which is one, expensive for a lot of contractors, but even more troublesome, and we found this, it requires a full-time pump jockey who is a almost like a unicorn, a very, very expensive, hard to find member or individual. And so what we have been trying to do is develop a product that is easier to successfully apply to the substrate. And we're trying to reduce cost in the marketplace, which will hopefully improve the ability for people to get tanks more effectively and efficiently maintained for the long term. So we have a lot of track record with Permaclean 100. It's in our line of ceramic epoxies, which is really what differentiates Induron products. I talk about value in the bucket and value out of the bucket. Value in the bucket, our line of ceramic epoxies is truly innovative. And I think this new product is sort of the tip of the spear and something that I'm personally very, very excited about.
So you addressed some of the historical limitations. What feedback did you hear from the marketplace as far as what they needed and also, those that have used it to this point? Just speak to the things you've heard from certainly applicators who use your products, but also potentially clients and people that are using it actually to protect their assets. Just speak to, the level of feedback and the back and forth that you've had in the development process and since rolling it out.
So what I have thought for a very long time is that solvent-free, high-build epoxy linings are the best path forward for corrosion resistance in the water business. Maybe other businesses too, but the reason I say that is when you deal with a solvent-free, high-build product, you're getting your protection by barrier. So you're breaking that corrosion cycle by not allowing the electrolyte to get to the substrate. If water doesn't get to the substrate, you don't have rust. If you don't have solvent in a protective coating, you don't have those minuscule pinholes where the solvent has to evaporate out of the curing coating. You don't have solvent entrapment, which can lead to taste and odor problems. You really do have a more robust system. Now, we've been proving that. We, as the industrial coatings market, have been proving that for more than a decade. But the challenge, and I mentioned this earlier, is application. Applying something that is solvent-free. Reason we add solvents to industrial coatings is to give them good flow so you can spray or roll them out on a substrate, get them to properly adhere. With 100% solids products, that's a little bit different. Historically, that's required plural component application equipment. And when I say plural component application equipment, really what I'm talking about is heat and very, very short hot life. So the chemical reaction is occurring really, really quickly with these materials. We have significantly slowed that down and introduced a more efficient way to heat products for application so that they flow and adhere properly. So it's pretty neat technology. A lot of other companies have rolled out similar products. We think we're different because of the ceramic pigment package that we use. I talked about ceramic epoxy a little earlier, different size, hollow spheres that really, really assist the flow rate and reduce the weight per gallon, which therefore makes the spray and roller application easier, especially when you're talking about a tank that's 120, 150 feet up in the air. So I think we have successfully addressed a lot of the application issues. We're getting positive feedback from the field. We're doing exhaustive testing here at our plant in Birmingham. And the way that we're getting this to work is with elevated temperatures. And I say elevated temperatures, and people think, oh my goodness, this has to be superheated. When I talk about elevated temperatures, I talk about 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not talking about something super hot. So the elevated temperature helps reduce the viscosity, helps improve the flow rate. But what's truly one of the many things that's truly unique about our product is that it has the same part A for both the PermaClean 100 that is applied with plural component material and with this single leg version. So it truly is the same technology. And by technology, I'm talking chemistry. Some other products that have been introduced have similar names, but very different technology, i.e., chemistry. So
Okay.
we got something that's pretty cool and unique.
So walk us through the actual application process for this. You've spoken to already the types of projects that this works on and the end markets, but if a contractor takes this to the job site and wants to apply this to a substrate, how does it all work? Just speak to, hypothetically, of course, a case study starting from, taking the material to the job site, any mixing. You mentioned the 90 to 100-degree heat. Just what are the steps involved as far as taking this from the material they pick up to it actually being applied to a substrate? How does it all work?
So I don't want to go into all of the details about exactly how the sausage is made on this podcast. But what I can say is we have a literally 10 bullet point recommendation
Yeah.
of different things. And what we're talking about is pump size. We recommend a pump size of larger than 60 to 1, but all a contractor really needs to provide is 4,000 psi to pump this stuff up an elevated tank. That's relatively low pressure. What we're talking about with temperatures elevating the mixed product to 90 degrees or 100 degrees F, we recommend proper storage of material overnight before the job so that pre-mixing the material is already elevated. We have some recommendations how to do that with the simple doghouse. And what we're talking about is a readily available Graco Viscon heater
Okay.
in line, relatively inexpensive. And we're talking about insulated hoses, maybe even, depending on the ambient temperatures, heat tracing that hose line from the pot out to the gun. And we have recommendations. A lot of our recommendations are the same recommendations we make for PermaClean 100 in terms of tip sizes, in terms of removing inline filters. It's pretty straightforward. And we like one of the things that we realize this is different technology, different application processes, and we want to be hands-on with our customers in the field, whether that be our sales reps or our tech service department. We want to bring that know-how with the people we work with. And so I feel like we're pretty well suited and staffed to do that.
And this is in line with several industry standards, right? I'm just going off the press release, but this is in compliance with a couple of the big ones already, correct?
AWWA D102 interior system. This is truly the same technology as our PermaClean 100, can be applied over a moisture cured zinc rich primer or an epoxy primer. Has, like I said, has already been approved for by UL for NSF standard 61/600 immersion. So we recommend this for all steel and or concrete surfaces throughout the water treatment process.
All right, so spinning it forward to the rest of 2025 and beyond. I know one thing that's on our radar is the AMP 2025 show, the annual conference and exposition. It's a spot where a lot of the industry comes together. When you're at a show like that, or you're out in the field anywhere for that matter, what are some of your talking points this year beyond just simply this technology? Although I know this is certainly a big part of your offering right now. What are some of the common questions or feedback that you get from people you talk to? How do you all try to address those? Just speak to what your conversations with other industry professionals are like in 2025 and, what's on the horizon for you guys.
Boy, so I could talk about that for a long time, Ben. I'll try to answer that from an Induron perspective, and then I'll try to answer that from a larger perspective as it relates to specifically the corrosion industry. But with us, one of our core values is innovation. We've introduced PermaClean 100 SL. We are doing a lot of work with cold cure products. That's sort of, I think, the next wave in terms of having products that are easy to apply in lower temperatures. We do a lot of water work in the upper Midwest and in the Northeast, and a lot of that work now is not occurring in the summer months, much to my chagrin, because I like good weather for maining projects. It's occurring in the shoulder seasons, spring and fall, where sometimes the temperatures get cold. We're doing a lot of work with cold cure products. So from a new product standpoint, we're doing stuff that is mainly easier to apply in the field, because it's sort of our philosophy that if it's easy to apply, it's easy to apply correctly. And then we look good, our contractor customer looks good, and the asset owner is real happy. So what we're trying to do is do stuff, user-friendly products like PermaClean 100 SL and a couple of cold cure products. From a macro standpoint, two things I hear a lot about. One now currently are the tariff situations and fears about recession and recent upset stomachs about inflation. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I don't profess to, but I'm certain that all of Induron's products, save for one high performance exterior coating, all manufactured in the United States with products that are sourced from the United States. So I think, and I hope I'm not being naive, I think our only limitation to current tariff situations have to do with steel pails and drums. So for our containers, so I think we're minimally affected there. So I'm running our business as though, regardless of what you read in the newspaper or see on the TV each day, as though the U.S. economy is stable and good. That's my take there. The other thing that is really, really hot right now in the water business has to do with PFAS. And it's crazy to me that politicians who have never taken a chemistry class are making regulation about stuff that they do not understand. And I'm not saying PFAS are not dangerous or bad and we need to get them out of the water system. I think there's some gross misunderstanding on what a PFAS actually is. And with a lot of regulation, it's easy to say, take this out. And then you start looking at dollars and cents, and it's like, golly, is this really where we as a nation need to be spending tens of billions of dollars, or do we need to fight something real like corrosion and crumbling infrastructure? So I could keep talking, but really PFAS and tariff are what dominates my daily conversation outside of this property. Inside this property is innovation in making things easier to apply for our customers.
That's a really good point on the tariff situation. Do you find that people in the market are a little more comfortable with you guys because you're a domestic supplier? I know you mentioned there's a small degree of international influence on a couple of things, but you are a domestic supplier and you're mostly sourced domestically. Does that provide a layer of comfort to, your end users, your contractors, that your situation is more stable than perhaps some of your competitors?
I think so. We certainly experienced a lot of the rocky problems that the whole industry experienced in 21 and 22 with supply chain issues. But we've been doing a lot of work recently on the Buy America, Build America program. And we did research on all of our raw material cost, on all of our products and where they're sourced. And we are resoundingly US-based raw materials, which I hope makes our customers more secure. Makes me sleep better at night for sure.
All right. Anything else in the pipeline from you guys? I know you don't want to give away the farm here in terms of any other developments you all have on the horizon, be it in 2025 or subsequent years, but what are the types of technologies that you all are working on and or looking for feedback on from the industry?
So two things. One, very close. We've got a exterior overcoat system that is water-based, that's dry fall applicable, that we want to introduce for exterior maintenance coatings. That's one new product that is on the horizon. Our real core, though, and our special knowledge is with ceramic epoxies. And when I say ceramic epoxies, I'm talking about the pigment package. We have a neat kind of secret that is proven through Protecto 401, our industry-leading ductile iron pipeliner. It's been manifest in Permaclean 100 for 15 years. We use that technology in different markets, and I think that technology can really, really help reduce corrosion at a cost-effective way. And we're looking at expanding into more corrosion resistant, like the wastewater business, with an Novolac epoxy, high build products, and doing stuff for below grade on power transmission structures. Mainly ductile iron power poles, but also galvanized steel power poles and some of the core 10 materials. So our real expertise has to do with high build epoxies, and that's where I'm trying to focus our R&D efforts.
Good stuff there. Davies Hood, Induron Protective Coatings. Davies, before we let you go, for any of our listeners that want to learn more about what you and Induron have going on, how can they do that? Just feel free to toss out a few plugs as far as the website, any social media accounts, just basic contact info for people wanting to learn more about Induron Protective Coatings.
Please visit our website at www.induron.com. We find it to be very user-friendly and informative. We are active on LinkedIn. We are active on Facebook. Please join us where we are social. But please feel free to reach out to me directly or any of our sales staff to talk about the Permaclean 100 SL or any of our innovative products. Thank you, Ben, for doing this. I enjoy talking about corrosion protection, the industrial coatings business. I have fun doing stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the audience could definitely tell. You get excited about this stuff. It's a good conversation. And I'll throw a shout out to your website. You guys redesigned it in the last year or two. It's very sleek. You've got lots of background information, and beyond just the typical sales points as far as the coatings and the technologies, you've got a lot of case studies on the blog to where people can understand not just the technology itself, but how it works in the field, how it's actually applied. So yeah, that website, Induron.com, great resource. Social media pages are attached, and beyond LinkedIn, Twitter / well, I guess it's now X. I'm so not used to saying that, man.
With you.
But you've also got the YouTube page and email address, info@induron.com. It's all right there on the website, induron.com. And yeah, great resource. All right, we will end our conversation there. For Davies Hood of Induron, I'm Ben Dubose with AMP Publications. Davies mentioned where our listeners can learn more from them. And as far as us within the publications team at AMP, the best places to get more info from our side are at our websites, which you can find at coatingsformag.com, amp.org, or materialsperformance.com. All of those have been recently redesigned as well. As far as the podcast series, you can search for Coatings for AMP at your social media outlet of choice or, well, your podcast home of choice, and find lots of great content on many subjects within corrosion control, materials protection, pertaining to the broader mission of materials protection and performance. All right, with those plugs complete, we will adjourn for today. For Davies Hood and Induron, I'm Ben Dubose, news editor with AMP Publications. Appreciate you all, as always, for listening, and please come back soon for more new podcasts from Coatings Pro and AMP.
Thank you.